preservatives, then they do want to go ahead and add the S. So you see that went away when I did that because it got too big. So I'm bringing this down. It's very tiny. Okay, so type on a path in Illustrator. So now that I have the no preservatives in there and it's sitting on that path, what I need to do is get it outside and away from the actual path and up here to where it's supposed to be. So the way that we're going to do that is we're going to do offset path in the character palette. So I'm going to go to window and I'm going to go to type and I'm going to open up my character palette. And in the character palette, you can see right here, this is offset from the path right here. And if that's not showing, when you open it up, it might look like this, your palettes. So you want to always say show options, and then right here you're going to get offset path. So you're not going to offset this very much, and I'm going to try to get it as close as I can to the way that they had it. So I'm going to bring in the letter spacing. And the way that I'm doing that is I'm doing option back arrow and forward arrow. That's the key command for that. And if you don't want to do it that way, you can just use this right here. They do have it kind of close, but anytime that you do type on a path, again, in Illustrator, it doesn't do a really great job. It's very finicky and hard to do. So if you're doing it and you're thinking, what am I doing wrong? You're really not doing anything wrong. It's just hard to deal with. This is going up in increments of 1 or 2, and 1 is too close to the line and 2 is too far from the line. So I'm going to just put in my own increments on this and see if I can't get it a little bit closer. So I'm going to go with 1.5. And you can kind of see that it still doesn't line up exactly. It looks like that the letter spacing is still just a little bit tighter. So I'm just going to continue to kind of bring that in. And then I'm actually going to use my kerning and push out kind of closer to what they have it, just because I really don't want them to notice that I've recreated it. So I'm just going in between my letters, and then I'm clicked on the type on the path. You can see my cursor blinking there, and I'm using option and the forward arrow to add this little space in between. Now, it's not going to be perfect because you can see that it's moving. As it moves one thing, it moves everything. So you're not just going to get it perfect. But I'm trying to get it to kind of end, start and end roundabout in the same place as what the original was, just so that it's not super obvious. So I'm going to turn off my layers and see. I just want to make sure that it's not too close to this star over here. And then you can even see this is all really tight and this is kind of close together. I mean, a little bit further out. So I'm going to kind of just tighten up. It's a little bit too tight, I think. I'm going to bring this down to 3.5 points. This is very small. Normally, you would never want to do this and do something with the text so small, but this is a very little icon. And that got it pretty close right there. Again, I'm just using my option arrows to move it around just because that's easier than messing with those buttons. And then I turn this off. I just really want that to look centered over that. I don't think anybody's going to actually remember exactly what it looked like. All right, and plus I added the S, so that's going to be my out on that one. I'm going to copy this, and then I'm going to paste in place. Command Shift V as in Victor. Then so you see that even if I hit delete, I've got 2 of them. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this center bar. And again, if you think you're doing something wrong with type on a path tool, you're not. It'll just go squirrely on you like crazy. So you just grab that thing and you're going to bring it down. And I'm pulling straight down to the bottom. And so you see what happened. This is on the inside. Well, the reason it's on the inside is because I did offset path to the outside. So now I've got an offset path back to this side, except for that's upside down. So that's not going to work. That's how I normally do that. So I'm going to go copy. I'm going to go paste in place. And instead of doing that, I'm just going to make it upside down by dragging it around to the other side. So the difference is I'm keeping this bar that I have a hold of on the outside when I'm pulling it around. Again, it's a very finicky tool. I don't even know how to describe it. Just basically it's hard to use. So that's really everything that I have as far as all of the elements of the actual icon right there. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm actually going to make it the color. I'm going to convert it to paths, and then I'm going to make the strokes as they're supposed to be. All right, so the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take these items that I have as a stroke. So first I'm just going to start with this one. That's this line stroke. Oh, that's annoying. Object, expand. Fill and stroke, so you can see that made that an actual object, not a stroke. I'm just going to go type create outline so that I don't have to keep dealing with that, trying to grab that. Same thing here. I'm going to go object, expand, fill and stroke, and hit OK, and that makes that a solid. So, because what I need to do here is I need to actually punch these things out. I'm going to lock down my type because you can see that the type on the path, even though the path disappeared, the type is to the front. Now, what I could do is grab these two things, Command X, put them on a whole nother layer, and then lock those down for later. But I'm not, I'm just trying to get it done kind of quick. So going back to this, I'm going to flip this. So I'm going to toggle it back to fill. Object, arrange, I'm going to send it to the back. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to grab these stars, and I'm first going to punch this. So I'm going to grab the stars because I want these all things to be punched out of this rather than just sitting on top of it. You have two different options, really. You can take all of your elements and you can just bring them to the front. Okay, so I'm going to say I group these. Object, arrange, bring to front. Then I change this to solid. Then I grab this and I make that white, and there you have it. But that's not exactly what I want to do because I want it to be see-through. So if I wanted to layer a color behind it, I would want this to be punched out of that inside color. So I've got a hold of all of these. Right now I have them grouped. I'm going to go Object, Ungroup. The first thing I'm going to do is make a copy of it because sometimes in Illustrator when you're punching the back to the front out of the shape, it'll make part of it disappear, but I'm hoping that doesn't happen. Then I'm going to hold Shift and hold the circle. I'm going to go to the Pathfinder and I'm going to go minus front, which it did perfectly. It went away. So now you can see if I drag this over here, it's see-through. I punched it out, okay? All right, so first things next. I'm going to grab these. And I'm going to go ahead and go type. Now, I'm going to hit save on this right now before I mess this up. And then I'm going to do save as. And I'm going to make a copy of this where I have the type in paths just in case for some reason they come back and say, no, I don't want it to say preservatives. I want it to say preservative. So I'm going to go ahead and make a copy of it. So one thing that I do like about the layers in Illustrator is that this little icon right here selects anything on the layer. So if you click this little icon, it selects both of them. I'm going to go type, create outlines. That makes them into objects. I'm going to group those. I'm going to go ahead and group these because these are all going to be the same color. Oops, I'm going to group that. Now I'm going to go ahead and punch this out, even though that looks a little bit tight. Let me see. It's pretty close. I think I'm gonna leave it. Looks like this is just so close to the edge. I feel like it's gonna go away. Maybe I'll bring that stroke down just a little bit skinnier. Object, expand, fill and stroke. And the reason you have to do that is because if this is a stroke, this will not punch out of that. It will not punch that through. It'll just combine it or do something weird. So anytime you have a stroke, now there's a setting in there to scale stroke, which I have turned on. But still sometimes whenever you transform something, when you put it in InDesign, still sometimes you'll scale it down and the stroke won't scale properly. So I just don't like to leave it like that. And also when I do my pre-flight, my pre-press, I like to be able to select everything and know that it's all one color, which I'll show you that in just a second. So I'm going to hit expand, fill and stroke. Then I'm going to grab the back, and then I'm going to minus front or minus back in the Pathfinder again to make that transparent. Again, you can move it over here and you can see that you can see through where I punched that out. Now I have everything all punched out, and I'm going to make everything the same color. The reason why I'm doing that is I'm going to Command X, let me get all of this to the same layer. I'm going to select the same layer. Wait a minute. Now you see that I had this, there's these little stray points right here that I don't want, and I don't know why it's doing that. That's from where I drew that little extra stroke. And the way that you can get rid of that is you can go outline. If you go view outline, normally we're looking at it in preview mode, so if you go view outline, you can see these stray strokes, and you can just delete them. That way you don't have any trash. I like to have a perfect file when I send my stuff to print. And the reason for that is because in my younger years, I would send stuff to print. It would come back all messed up and cost the company a lot of money, which I'd be embarrassed and all kind of other things. And I decided a long time ago that I was going to do my own production and that I was not going to have that problem. So I'm going to go back and unlock this, move it over here. I'm going to select everything on this layer, and then I'm just going to eyedropper it. Boom. Now I've got it totally recreated. All right, so I'm going to save that. Now I'm going to go back to my InDesign file. I'm going to go File, Place. Now I could just click on this and go relink right here, and I could relink it. I really don't want to do that. I have this icon placed in a bunch of different places. Like, this is another reason why I asked to be able to recreate it, because you can see in their screen grab they chopped off, or the bottom of it cut off out of ChatGPT. I don't know if they did it, the client did it, I'm not sure. But I have this same icon in several different places. So instead of just clicking on this and saying relink and update the link, I'm not even gonna go File, Place. Actually, in between Illustrator and InDesign, you can just copy and paste it. Copy. So I'm gonna copy it. I'm going to paste it. It should be around the same size because I built it to the right size. Okay, click and drag. Alrighty, and there you have it. Recreated.